In JavaScript, NaN is not equal to NaN. Why? Well, this is because of what NaN actually is. We think of NaN as a unique JavaScript value, just like undefined, null, true, false, and several other reserved values you have in JavaScript. But NaN is not necessarily a value, but rather a representation of the state of a value. It represents a value that is not a number, that is an invalid number. So the NaN itself is not a value, but the representation of another value. When you attempt to do certain numeric expressions in JavaScript, you get a result that is not presentable. And so JavaScript has NaN as a representation for that value. For example, if you try to do something like converting Deeecode as a string to a number, you get a certain result that cannot be presented. So JavaScript has NaN as a placeholder for that invalid number. Same thing if you try to do something like 0 divided by 0 or 5 divided by 0, you get a certain result that cannot be presented. So JavaScript has NaN again as a placeholder. So NaN itself is not a value, but just more a placeholder for these numeric results that cannot be presented. The way I like to think of this is when you talk about code. If you say the weather is cold, now cold could mean -6 degrees, -10 degrees, -50 degrees. Cold as a concept is ambiguous because it could mean many things. Even 0 degrees -100 degrees is cold. Now, does that mean that cold is equal to cold? No, because -6 degrees is not the same thing as 1 degree, but we still use the concept cold as a representation for how the weather feels. That's similar with how NaN is. You have operations that returns invalid numbers. That operation could be anything. That invalid number could be anything. JavaScript has NaN as a representation for that value that could not be presented. Okay, what if we have something like this? Let's say const A is equals to NaN. If you say A equal to A, you still expect it to be the same, right? But it's still false. Well, the reason here is that NaN by itself, again, is still just a representation, not a value. If you say const A equals NaN, all JavaScript knows is that I have this representation for a value that cannot be presented. It's not like JavaScript remembers that, oh, NaN was assigned to a variable A, or this was the operation carried out, or this was the operation carried out. It's not like the NaN itself contains that information. All NaN knows is that it is not a number. So NaN automatically is not equal to anything, including itself, even though the same operation was carried out to find out what that NaN is. So if you want to check if a certain value is NaN, instead of checking is the value NaN, instead you use number is NaN method, and then you can pass the value like A, and now we get true because this is NaN. I hope that this short video helps you understand why NaN cannot be equal to itself. Again, remember, it is not necessarily a value, but a representation, and a representation cannot be equal to another representation because those representations can mean different things.